Here's a better close-up look of our beetle kill. This is the side that I screwed up repeatedly and have never gotten it where I want it and will never get it where I want it because I have waved the white flag, and this is how it's going to look forever. You can see there's some darker here and there's some darker here. I started seeing a lot of beetle kill that had a lot of natural, cedar looking colored streaks in it. And the number one tip I'm going to tell you from the beetle kill perspective, if you have the option to cherry pick your pieces, please do, especially if you have a really specific look in mind, like I originally did, that is completely different from how this turned out. And I'm okay with it. I like the way it's turned out. But because we're in Texas and sustainable lumber, where we bought this stuff, is in Montana, we had no choice in pieces. So you see this piece right here? You see all that? That tiny little blue streak, that's all the blue that was in it. The rest of it was all pine. And I got to hand pick all the pieces for this side of the house because I actually was here when Brandy put these up. So I tried to blend them all together really well, make sure there was lots of blue represented, etc., etc. The other side of the house, I didn't get that option. He didn't also find a pile of wood that was buried underneath a bunch of cedar, so he kind of was stuck with a bunch of pieces that didn't have a whole lot of blue at all. And it shows, unfortunately. At least it shows to me. And I know it's just me being picky because I'm the one that sees it and I'm the one that knows what it's supposed to look like or was supposed to look like. So it's really going to only bother me. Nobody else is going to care, but I can't help it. It's my house and it bothers me. So anyway, this stuff, because I stripped it down and then redid it and whatever and blah, blah, blah. There's so many imperfections on it now. All of this, yeah, that should have gone away. Shouldn't have been there in the first place. All of this here, which actually is very pretty in a lot of these places. There's a spot there. See all of this stuff? If I hadn't stained it and then stripped it and then done a lousy job of sanding it, none of that would be there. And I shouldn't point these things out to you because now you're not going to be able to not see them. But my point is, beetle kill shouldn't be hard to work with if you prep it properly. I'm going to write a whole post on my experience with it. I know there's been lots of posts on my experience with it, but I want to do a recap one where I really explain everything that I've learned from it. And I will say, by the time I got around to this third back wall here, I knew exactly what I was doing and I knew exactly what I wanted. Here's the froggy. At least that's what I see. Anyway, what I did was I added some of this in. This was an Olympic stain. It's a dark ash. I added that in a few places because I wanted to pull some more of that color in. I darkened all of the blue with the Benjamin Moore Seagull Gray. I then took a little bit of that Benjamin Moore Seagull Gray and wiped it over the whole thing and made sure I wiped it down so you can see there's a little bit of the staining on the natural pine. And then I put the clear coat of the Penafin Verde in natural over the whole thing. So out of the whole house, out of all the beetle kill, this is the only wall that looks basically exactly how I wanted it to look. Sadly, all this down here, not going to be able to see it much longer. It's going to get covered up with a storage shed. But you know what? At least I finally got it right. So anyway, long story short, if you're going to work with beetle kill, test the bejesus out of your stains. Know exactly what you're getting. Sand them all down exactly how you plan to sand your house. Treat them however you're going to actually treat your actual siding on your house when you're using your samples, because that's the noob, total DIY screw up mistakes that I made. I didn't sand everything down the exact same way I planned to do it on the house. No glaze changes the way stains look. It just does. You can't help it. It's going to happen. So if you really truly want to know what you're going to get, you have to treat your samples the same way you treat your siding. And I screwed that up big time. So lots of lessons to be learned. Don't make the mistakes I did, because this was not inexpensive wood and it definitely looks different than how I originally envisioned. But overall, I like it.